Welcome to Amaka Intellectual Factory, where I host podcasts and many other interesting stuff. Today, I'm gonna be reading part 1 of my article titled Chess Moves of the Middle East and Our Habibi, President Trump's Recent Trip to the Region, part 1 of 2. I would be uploading the article on my website right after uploading this video to my YouTube channel. President Trump's trip to the Middle East, making it his first major international trip in his second term as President of the United States, is already old news because his trip, which was scheduled from May 13, 2025 to May 16, 2025, has officially been concluded. But his trip was so successful and phenomenal that I would still talk about it. Sun Tzu, an ancient Chinese military strategist, advises us to move with the rapidity of a hare in his book, The Art of War. The Trump administration has already broken the speed record of the hare by moving as fast as flash or the speed of light. Even I am struggling to keep up with the outstanding achievements of the Trump administration. The agenda of Trump's 4-day trip was clearly articulated. Secure business deals and investments in the United States, which Trump claimed could reach trillions of dollars, as well as lift sanctions on the transitional government of Syria. Long story short, President Trump excelled in achieving his agenda with admirable ease, true to his skill as the grand master strategist that he is. We all watched in awe and amazement as the US's Air Force One got a Saudi fighter jet escort as it approached Saudi Arabia. Upon arrival, President Trump was given the welcome and hospitality of a king. I immediately noticed the rich purple carpets that flowed from the steps of Air Force One to the foot of the US's presidential limousine, a heavily armored and customized Cadillac nicknamed the Beast. Trump's presidential entourage was escorted by not just Saudi armed soldiers, but the finest horse stallions of Saudi Arabia. President Trump was greeted in an arrival ceremony by the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. From there, they both proceeded to a very luxurious and spacious building, or should I say palace, still covered in rich purple carpet walkways for a signing ceremony. Some of the pillars in this palace looked like they were made out of emerald and then further covered in yellow gold. The chandeliers, marble pillars, and marble floor were first class. The windows and doors were aesthetically wide. When they both sat down on the beautiful purple chairs with gold frames, I could not help but observe the magnificence of the white tables and the yellow gold details on the white tables. Even the trash cans appeared to be made out of gold. Honestly, if I were to sell those gold trash cans, I would probably make a profit close to $1 million. I am sure President Trump was pleased to see journalists who were not so aggressive. You could hear the endless sound of the click of their cameras, but they were more melodious and even soothing than disturbing. A great departure from the more aggressive sound of the click of the cameras of US journalists that sound more like machine guns, followed by a barrage of heartbreaking questions for a president that has nothing but real love for his beautiful country, the United States of America. All the Saudis were aesthetic and good-looking in their headwear attires, long gowns, trench overalls, and sandals. There was a blonde-haired white woman wearing a lovely, elegant black gown with a gold belt on the waist that assisted President Trump in the signing ceremony. Even as Trump's Middle Eastern trip has ended, I still could not tell if she was with the US entourage or a rented European woman from, say, Russia or Ukraine, or maybe even some Scandinavian country. I still saw her when Trump went to Qatar and United Arab Emirates. All that crossed my mind regarding her was, if indeed she was originally rented by the Saudis, but later went on to serve President Trump in Qatar and United Arab Emirates because she did an excellent job in Saudi Arabia, then she probably would be a millionaire by the end of Trump's trip, earning possibly time and a half in overtime payments. At least she would no longer be late in her rent and other bill payments, if she was. She could even quit her 9-to-5 job in whatever European country she was rented from and open a coffee shop, cupcake shop, a fitness and wellness center, or other types of similar businesses. All I know is that I kept telling myself, whoever she was, she made a killing financially from this trip. It might surprise some people, but there is indeed a practice of non-white people renting white people to serve in business transactions. Topic for another day. After the signing ceremony, President Trump and the Saudi prince proceeded to a Saudi-US investment forum, which I would analyze in part 2 of this article. The US's Air Force One also received fighter jet escorts into Qatar and United Arab Emirates, UAE. Trump's entourage was escorted by camels in addition to soldiers in Qatar. I absolutely loved the Middle Eastern countries' incorporation of their traditional sword dances, horses, and camels. It was a mind-blowing sight to behold. How much more a personal experience. The royal treatment for President Trump continued to the very end of the trip. If I were to equally articulate the grandeur of the royal treatment Trump received from Qatar and United Arab Emirates, this would no longer be properly classified as an article, perhaps a thesis, or even a novelette. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed of United Arab Emirates bestowed the highest civilian honor upon President Trump, the Order of Zayed. So now, President Trump is not just a deal maker in chief, a big masquerade, Ijele Ekweme Trump, a samurai, a grand master military, financial, and political strategist. In fact, a grand wizard. He is, for lack of a better word, a Knight of the Order of Zayed. Now, as a master military strategist myself, this UAE honor bestowed on President Trump completely blew my mind. President Trump is without a doubt the coolest, but also the greatest president America has ever had. Now, for anyone who follows my writings or videos on YouTube, then you know there was no way in hell I would not comment on those lovely little angels shaking their long hair for President Trump in UAE. However, if we were to keep it 100% honest, did that not remind you of the Hollywood horror movie, The Ring? I'm sorry, I could not help it. But it reminded me of that movie, and my mischievous self just would not let that observation pass. Before I conclude this article, I have to admit, I was looking forward to some Arabian belly dancing beauties as taught to us by ancient Arabian historians. That would have been amazing, with them singing a song probably titled Habibi, which is Arabic for my love, when addressing a man, of course, for our dearly beloved President Trump. Trump is over and above everything, a very cool, charming, down-to-earth guy. I'm sure he would have accepted their entertainment gracefully. Just saying. Now, in conclusion of part 1 of this article, I would say, with the straightest face and confidence, President Trump absolutely deserved this royal treatment from his Middle Eastern trip. I want to use this opportunity to say Shukra, which is Arabic for thank you, to the Saudis, Qataris, and people of the United Arab Emirates for making our dearest president's Middle Eastern trip a fun, productive, and unforgettable experience. President Trump really needed this break from all the subversive, globalist, and communist opposition he has been dealing with in the United States since the commencement of his second term. The timing was also perfect as the United States prepares to celebrate the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary on January 14, 2025, which also happens to be the day of President Trump's 79th birthday. In part 2, I would dive right into my analysis of the Middle East's chess move with the royal treatment given to President Trump. And just so you know, I would not be doing a YouTube video for part 2 of this article. However, make sure you visit my website www.amakaintellectualfactory.com to read part 2 of this article. Trust me, you don't want to miss my thought-provoking, fun, and entertaining analysis. Well, That's all I have to say for now. Until next time, take care of your lovely selves. And remember, life is beautiful and worth living.